Okay, well, welcome back. Sorry to interrupt the conversation, but we've got a great presentation for you here to take you through lunch. Before we get into that, just quickly, again, some of you might not have heard, the fishing and the horseback riding activities have been canceled today due to the weather. We do have a movement of folks that are going to the bowling alley just a few minutes away. So if you'd like to go do that with a group, please go outside and sign up, just so we have an idea of how many people will be going so we can plan the shuttles accordingly. Also, if you're signed up to play golf and you want to play golf, come see me or go see Elaine out front, because I just need to make sure that the course is still going to count on you playing. You're more than welcome to play. It's raining, obviously, but, avoid the lightning. We don't want any Caddyshack situations happening out on the golf course. And then I think there's others who have thought maybe playing pool here and having a drink or two at the lobby bar or sit in the hot tub or something might be an activity also. So if you're interested in the things we have planned, just go outside and let us know so we can plan for it. Okay, getting into the Lunch and Learn today. We've got a new sponsor, Arcadium. We're thrilled to have them here. We've got the president and co-founder, Kenny Rosenblatt, who wants to talk to you a little bit today about visual, interactive, and talk to you about. So give it up for Kenny.
All right. Thank you for having me. I am excited to be here. For those of you who were on the fishing trip that got canceled, this is what we caught last year. This is a legit picture. My friend James from Post Up, where are you? That's him holding this mahi-mahi. It's a legit fishing trip, and maybe you should come next year so you can be part of this wonderful fishing charter. But again, thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me. Really excited to share with you what we're doing at Arcadium. Just a little bit about me. I'm the co-founder and president of Arcadium. We've been around for 16 years, so we've kind of been battle tested and have been through several recessions, but continue to grow our business. We're based in New York City, and we create interactive content for publishers. What does that mean? Traditionally, we've been partnered with publishers creating games and puzzles for their sites. If you've ever played a game online, I can guarantee one of them has probably been by Arcadium. But we've really evolved. We've evolved beyond that as the company has grown, and I think that background has really allowed us to introduce this new product that I'm going to share with you today, because I don't know if you read Mary Meeker's report, but a lot of the great new technologies that are coming out have deep roots in gaming. And I think some of that visual storytelling and interactivity that I'm going to show to you today has a lot to do with kind of that DNA of the company. And we work with a lot of big publishers. A lot of you here today are our current Arcadium partners, but really excited to introduce to you Inhabit. And Inhabit is really about innovating the newsroom. We had partnered with a lot of publishers, and they've been telling us about their challenges with engagement and attention and keeping people on their site. And they kept telling us, listen, what you do with your games and puzzles is amazing. It's the most engaging part of our site, but how can you bring that engagement to my article pages? This is where I really need help with article page engagement. People are coming from Facebook, reading half the article, and then bouncing. So if I could figure out a way to keep them on the site, that would be really sweet. So when the year started, I think we all remember this kind of story that rapidly went around the internet, whether it's right or wrong. Visual storytelling is kind of dominating and taking a more pronounced role in journalism. And with attention spans shrinking, digital and visual interactive storytelling is starting to take off at a larger scale. And the problem is that a lot of this is really hard to do at scale and consistently. So what we've done is we think we've created a solution that's going to be able to help support newsrooms around the world. So when we talked to our publishing partners, they said duration on their site, has really plummeted, huge bounce rates, users don't read full articles, and they definitely don't scroll, right? So these are the things that came up in our conversations with our publishing partners, and we said, we can fix this. We think we can fix this. Let's develop a new product to address this exact type of thing. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the New York Times 2020 report. A lot of the focus in that report was about the industry needs to be more visual, and visual storytelling allows for richer and more engaging journalism. This really was exciting for us to read because this is what we had been working on for the year prior to this report coming out. Now, visual storytelling matters, and when we did some research, we found that articles with visualizations led to increased engagement and comments and shares. It increased session durations, and it also improved the depth of the scroll, so improved the users wanting to scroll down onto the article. And when we interviewed a lot of our partners, they had told us that, like with the Telegraph in the UK, when they tweeted visualizations of their soccer goals, they got retweeted, 790 times compared to an average of 80 times. Or with the Financial Times, the Brexit visualization garnered 60 times more viewership than average text-based stories. So the list goes on from Forbes to AP, and even on the local level, that visualizations are really helping to amplify content. I'm not saying that the text-based stories should go away by any stretch, but if you can complement it with the visualization, that would be really sweet. But not only visualizing it, but making it interactive and playful, making it kind of something that people can stick around and engage with. So we interviewed a lot of our partners. We started to develop this new product that we're launching. It's called Inhabit, and the tagline is content that keeps, with the idea that we keep users on your page. We're really addressing attention and engagement. We know that this is a big theme. It's a theme for advertisers. It's a theme for publishers. So trying to tackle this, we thought was a good place to continue to evolve the company, because we had always been good at this. Our games were holding people for 30 minutes. We were getting 10 page views per session. So we have background in it. It wasn't like we were trying to attack a problem that we weren't qualified to go after. So this was the easiest way for us to explain what the product is, but if you'll bear with me reading it, it says, within milliseconds, Inhabit reads what an article is about, and then dynamically creates and embeds what we call a factive. And a factive is an interactive unit that uses AI to boost engagement and activity. And I know that's a mouthful, but essentially it is an inline, in-article visualization that is not an infographic, but it's a clickable, playable unit that lives within an article page that is contextually relevant to the article. It's not this random thing that we just inject into the article. There's a one-to-one match with what the article is about and what this interactive does. Now, there's a lot of tools on the market that would do something similar without this last piece. And the last piece may be the most important, because when you create a interactive in the past, it's usually custom made, one-off for an article. What we've been able to do is actually do it at scale so that it can be relevant for all of your article pages. So let's take a look. Here is a sports article. And essentially the first thing that our product does is it reads the page. It understands the page. And I don't know if you could see this, but we pull the taxonomy out of the page. And here we know that this article is about Russell Wilson. He's on the Seahawks. It's about football, etc. The next thing is it selects from our library of factives, right, to say, okay, this is about Russell Wilson. It's about football. What do you got that's relevant to that? And then what it does is it takes it and it puts it in line in the story, and you'll see we ask a question here, which of these quarterbacks has the most passing yards this season? And you'll see Russell Wilson is one of the choices there. If this article was about Eli Manning would be in here, but this is a dynamic piece of interactive content that always is directly related to that story. And then the cool thing is it allows users to click. It wants them to play with this thing, not just push information. It's engaging or enticing the user to click over. So more specifically, Factives are conceived by a team of human editors. So we have a team that comes up with the overall concept or template first, and then we say these are important story arcs that are constantly being written about, and then we come up with the concept that can then be dynamically inserted. The next thing is it's designed to elicit a response. We don't want users to just stare at it or skip over it. We want them to click and engage. And then lastly, it uses AI to populate themselves with contextually relevant data from the article. This is another really special piece of how we're able to do this at scale, and I'll be able to explain that, because these Factives are not opinions. They are all based on facts or data sets, because we've been purchasing a lot of data over the last couple of years from leagues in the in the sports category, finance, entertainment. So there's a lot of data that is actually helping us populate these. So let's take a deeper look. We're calling this a new category called dynamic editorial. And dynamic editorial is the idea that we're able to create content that supports an article dynamically and through artificial intelligence. So with finance, there are lots of different providers of data, from data.gov to Yahoo Finance, that gives us the fundamentals that allow us to create Factives on the front end. For sports, these are the sports that we have currently launched with, and I'm going to explain, because it's the easiest way, how sports data is allowing us to build these Factives. So these sports get played all the time. There's companies like these three in the middle that collect this data and then sell it out to you. Who scored the most points in last game, how many free throws, who hit the longest home run, all that stuff. We have kind of purchased this data, and then we build these Factives on top of that. So regardless of what the story is about, whether it's a major league pitcher or a center for San Antonio, it doesn't matter, because we have all this data that these Factives will be dynamically populating themselves with. So that allows us to scale amongst a variety of articles rather than just one interactive unit for one article. Now, here's an example. So we may have a question in the Factive that says, like, which of these point guards had the most points per game this season? And that would give if the user clicked, it would show you the points per game this season with the selected people. Now, the nice thing is this is so dynamic that depending on what the article is about, it will change itself so that it's always relevant. Again, if the article is about a small forward, it would change it to potentially assists. So you can see with all, in the NBA specifically, this one Factive can have 11,000 permutations. So it's always relevant to the article, which is pretty cool, because you don't have to create 11,000 things by hand, right? Because this one Factive can support that many varieties. So, just to give you an example, this is a Sports Illustrated article, and this is one of our Factives about Major League Baseball, and you can see that, this one's about Buster Posey, but if the article is about Manny Machado, then you'll see that this changed based on Manny Machado's information and his batting average and all of the other things. So the same Factive works in all of those situations, but it's always contextually relevant. right? You're not making this big stretch to think like, what the heck does this piece of content have to do with my story? It actually supports and complements the story, making it more interactive, engaging. So here's an example with Forbes, one of our finance factives. There's an article about Nielsen, and then if you're reading the Nielsen article, we ask a question about, if you invested in one of these stocks from years ago, which one would have garnered the most value? And then again, we go against the data sets about publicly traded companies and where their closing stock price was, and then we just put that into a data visualization. But remember, the article is about Nielsen, the visualization includes Nielsen. If this was an article about Google or Tesla or Goldman Sachs, this factive would dynamically be changed to ask a question or elicit a response from the user that is directly related to that. So again, this one factive can support every publicly traded company on NASDAQ, American Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, you name it. Here's a entertainment factive, and this is these are a lot more fun in terms of what they do, but this is an article about La La Land. Here, La La Land starred Emma Stone. We go against the database and say, what other movies was Emma Stone in? And then we pull them up, and then we're showing their total revenue, their box office revenue. So again, it is all based on facts, which is why we call them factives, right? Combined facts and interactive, that's our clever marketing. And essentially, what we've done is this factive will work on any box office story. It'll work on any movie or actor story, but it'll be dynamically generated based on the context of the story itself. Now, you can see from these interactions that our gaming background and knowing how to put kind of cool visualizations and interactives in front of the user have allowed us to make these kind of fun yet compelling and engaging units that are definitely connected to the story's topic. So again, we launched with Sports Illustrated 6 months ago. We were not sure how we were going to perform, and we were really shocked to see the results. We were hoping for something like a 3, 4, 5% click-through rate, but we were blown away by, we're seeing an average click-through rate of 18%, meaning 18% of the people who are reading this article are clicking on the factive. And we were like, yes, that's a strong number, and it's even stronger on mobile. It's a much higher number on mobile. But the cool thing is that we achieved what we were hoping to achieve. We increased the interactivity on the site. We increased their time spent by 44 seconds per article page, which is almost double what they were getting before. And again, we landed on this engagement thing where people and our partners were asking us, how can you deliver engagement to our article pages? How can you deliver interactivity? And we've set out to kind of grow from here because we got a lot of confirmation in data that this is something that users were interested in and they were engaging with. So then everybody always asks, and I know that this is a naughty word in some cases, but how does this thing make money? We all have to make money. How are we going to do that? So it works in two ways. The more elegant way is through premium direct sponsorships. So if you have a direct team, you can sell a sponsorship against that. That is like the best implementation because it is kind of graceful in terms of its providing value to the end user without getting in their face. But then there's also support for standard IAB units and programmatic. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's an example where IBM did a sponsorship, and essentially it's baked into the factive where we're still delivering the user a great experience, but now before we let them play again, we're delivering the message that IBM is looking to deliver. Here's a more custom example with Lowe's, asking which of these quarterbacks improved their yardage from last year, and again, never stop improving and delivering that message. So these are kind of high figure sponsorship deals, but again, it marries editorial, user experience, and monetization in a way that's never really been done before. And as publishers, you know you usually have to pick one, right? Who am I putting first? The money? Am I putting the editorial, the user experience? We're hoping with these that we marry the three in a way that delivers tremendous value to the user. And again, because they're all based on facts and data, we don't think that that can get us in too much trouble. So on the IAB front, here's an example of if you love that outstream video and the cost per completed view, this is a way to do that where it is 100% viewable because it is only triggered on user engagement. So only when they click the factive would something trigger off of that. So if you need your cost per completed views up, this is a great way to do it by delivering content and monetization together. So I'm just wrapping up here. I know the theme of the conference has been a lot about the duopoly, but I think we all realize that we cannot beat Facebook and Google on scale, right? We can't beat them on scale. We can probably not beat them on targeting, right? Because they have such tremendous targeting capabilities. But what I think we can beat them on is delivering unique experiences that they can't. And this was brought up this morning several times. We have to do things that they can't in order to differentiate ourselves, to really make a difference and start to bring those advertising dollars back to us to cut into their percentages, because brands really want things that will help achieve that brand lift and deliver these engaging experiences. But if you look at the implementations on Google and Facebook, yes, do they get clicks, but are they always delivering that kind of sentiment that you're sometimes looking for? And I hope that Inhabit will help achieve some of these things. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your lunch.
Thank you so much, Kenny. That's great. Any questions for Kenny before we let him go? Yep. Okay. Hang on. The sports guy. Hold on. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hey, Bill from ESPN. Thanks. That was really interesting. So I had a question about IP, intellectual property, because clearly you're getting the stats from the different companies that you bought them from. Does it also allow you to put the players and stuff in there, or would the publishers have to have some sort of rights to those players and logos?
Yeah, so great question. You obviously know a lot about the space and deal with this issue, but we have specifically tried to separate the players from the advertisements in the IAB versions of that. So anytime, and our legal gave us some copy that says these players are not associated with this brand, blah, blah, blah. But I anticipate that will become less of a problem for any of our finance or entertainment, but specifically with sports, there's some sensitivities. When we have a sponsorship, we can pull out the player images, and we've seen similar results. We did a lot of A/B testing to see how it would perform just by saying like LeBron James without holding his, having his image there. But when we bring this product to partners, they don't need a license with the NBA Players Association or things like that. We have purchased and have the rights to use those images on our partner sites.
One more right here.
Hi, Kenny. Amanda
Hi.
from Weather Company. I'm curious if you can use, if I piped my data into that to inform, climate change video or climate change factives,
Absolutely.
or that sort of thing.
We launched with sports. Finance was the second one, and now we're focused heavily on weather, real estate, and local. We got a lot of feedback from our clients, how can, my local paper is really big on crime because they can't get that information on, Washington Post and USA Today. So how can we bake in those data sets to deliver to smaller local papers? But yes, there's a lot of weather data and there's a lot of cool information that we can show you. Yes, absolutely. And we can help syndicate it out.
How do you avoid, say, an example of IBM, that's a sponsor, when you have content that might be negative a story about IBM. How do you manage that sort of delineation?
Sure. So I'm going to introduce my partner on this, Rob Caliolo, who helped develop the product, and he may have a better answer for you than me.
Yeah, so I used to work at CBS Interactive, joined Arcadium about a year ago, and this product is really designed to kind of, hit on a lot of the individual needs one by one that I used to face there. One of the things that we knew early on was that would be a problem, that people would say, well, either my editors have to have complete 100% control and then the editors are putting them in there one by one, or you have to be able to dynamically take care of that. So when we're scraping all the meaning, taxonomy, and sentiment, we actually will not show, and this is also true, if we don't have anything relevant to show, we won't show anything at all. So this isn't just a piece of furniture that's sitting on your page. Only when we have something that will meet a certain editorial standard will it show. Of course, your editors still have like a kill switch they can do, but we have very high rates, for example, with entertainment, if someone passes away, those types of stories that are immediately breaking news, we won't have that kind of active.
Interesting. Okay. I don't get to ask questions much. That was fun. Anyone else before we let him go? Okay. Well, Kenny, thank you very much. You've got
pleasure.
Rob here too if you have questions. Thank you so much. And as we move into the afternoon, we've got, again, the option to go bowling. And I think some folks may be sticking around here and hitting the game room or, having a drink, at the bar. You're more than welcome to do what you like in the afternoon. At 6:30, we have cocktails. We've already moved those inside, just preparing for the worst. We don't really know what's going to happen tonight, but we've gone ahead and moved those inside. The cocktails and dinner will both be in the plaza room, which is just down the hall, back towards the main, just go back down this hallway and turn right, and you'll see the plaza room. You'll hear us there at 6:30. And then dinner at 7:30. Wear your badges tonight. I hope you have a great afternoon. If you want to go bowling, go check in with the registration. And those who want to golf, come see me, because we can still get out there, but bring your rain gear. All right, thanks again. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you tonight.